getting ready for your first day of pro wrestling training. I highly, highly, and Chris, I hope you get this, highly, 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 highly recommend that you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all you champions out there, welcome once again to the Podcast of Champions. Today we are talking about prepping for your first pro wrestling class. What to expect, what to bring, what is going to happen at your first wrestling class. So this is, if you've signed up and you're ready to go and your next class is tomorrow. So I brought in our aficionado here in pro wrestling, our coach, Mr. Kekoa. And he's going to run us through a little bit of what you expect at the House of Champions and maybe going throughout his career, what he is seeing that you can expect from your first wrestling class at a different school. So I guess we'll start off with the essentials, Coach K. What are some things that people can expect to bring with them?
So there's definitely some things that you need to bring with you just to be prepared, just to be safe. Very, very first thing is you need good knee pads and you need good elbow pads. Now, if you're wondering if pro wrestling is going to be the thing that you're going to pursue, is this 100% what I want to do with the rest of my life? You don't necessarily have to spend a tremendous amount of money for good knee pads and elbow pads, but if you're pretty certain, if you know in your heart that this is probably going to be a long-term thing and you're just finding the right school, then I would highly, highly recommend that you take the investment and invest into some high-quality elbow pads and knee pads. Now, you're probably wondering, what's the difference between a good elbow pad and a good knee pad? Well, there's a lot of cheaper material elbow pads and knee pads out there, and you can basically tell what they are by the shape of them. So if you're looking at some smaller or thinner volleyball type knee pads or elbow pads, or if you see those elbow pads that have like all of the hexagons and it's almost like a pattern like material, those are not going to do well for you. If this is what you want to do and you want to invest into very good knee pads and elbow pads, for anybody that's looking for great ones, I highly recommend the elbow pads and knee pads that are on highspots.com. Those are very thick. They're very durable. They're the ones that I use inside the ring for my matches. Those are going to do well for you. So that's the first thing that I would recommend.
First thing, so get some good gear, get some good protection, whether it's elbow pads or knee pads. Obviously, they want to wear some workout clothing. What do you recommend? Loose fitting, tight fitting? What kind of workout clothing should they wear?
So that kind of flows into the second thing that I want to talk about. The second thing that's important for you to have when you go to your first pro wrestling class is extra clothing and definitely workout clothing. I have seen some people come into this facility and other facilities in the past that come in with some long jeans, some ripped up jeans. I've also seen guys come with like those baggy, almost, what are those, like UFO pants? What were they called? You know what I'm talking about?
Like the windbreakers?
Yeah, windbreaker pants. Yeah. I've seen a lot of different types of outfits come through a pro wrestling training school.
Sure.
So definitely some clothes that you're going to work out in, that you're going to sweat in. Those are going to be the best clothes for you. As far as to answer your question is if it should be looser or more form-fitting, it should definitely be more form-fitting. It doesn't have to be super tight, but it should hug you pretty good. The reason that I say that it should be more form-fitting is because a lot of what we do, and it really depends on what you do on your first day, but a lot of what we do, you want that tighter clothing because you run less of a risk of it getting caught, it getting caught on your shoe. Like maybe if you're going to do a roll or something, and if your shorts are baggy, that it gets caught on your shoe or your hand or something of that sort. If you're interacting with another wrestler or another student, it could get caught. So a lot more form-fitting. Again, it doesn't have to be super tight. It can just give you a nice little hug, but you should definitely have that. And the reason that I say you should bring extra clothing with you is because you never know what the facility type is going to be like. So obviously here in Florida, it's very, very hot. We do have air conditioning, but there are times where obviously we don't turn on the air conditioning because we want a good sweat, we want a good workout, we want to train our wrestlers in any type of environment so that when they get inside a wrestling ring, they're ready to go. But again, you don't know if the facility that you're going to go to is well ventilated. You don't know if it's going to be hot, if it's going to be cold, so on and so forth, how much you're going to sweat. But it's just out of respect to bring some extra clothing so that if you do get really sweaty, you should probably take that off and put another pair on, especially because the more that you sweat and you keep those wet clothes on, it makes that canvas very, very slippery, and then obviously we don't want any type of injuries. So definitely form-fitting clothes, workout clothes is the second thing that I highly recommend that everyone brings.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of sweating, you're probably going to want to bring a towel.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget to bring a towel.
Don't forget to bring a towel, as Towley would say. Okay, great. So we kind of got the physical aspect. What about the mental aspect? What kind of mindset should you bring into your first match?
So the first time that you go to any type of training facility, what you should expect, it's really going to vary depending on what school you go to. So I'm going to give you the vast differences between other schools that I've seen and what you might expect at House of Champions. So there are other schools, and you might have even read online or you've heard different people talk about their experiences. And again, maybe these are older stories, but it's still unfortunately kind of around that there are some facilities that almost kind of take advantage of you in the sense of they beat you up a little bit because they might have this old school mindset that they want to see how tough you are, or if they want to see if this is something that you really want to do. So they might rough you up a little bit, and then you might be tested to see if you're going to come back. We don't do that here specifically. And I know that there's a lot of schools that don't operate that like the old days. We very much take care of anybody that walks through the door, whether it's your first time here or you're a member here. The last thing that we ever want to do is cause injury to somebody. The last thing that we ever want to do is push someone past their limits, so on and so forth. We take your safety into a very important fact of we want to make sure that you walk out of here perfectly safe. So with that being said, what you should expect, you should probably expect to do some rolls, some somersaults if you're not familiar. There's various types of rolls that you're going to be taught. Here at the House of Champions, you may or you may not learn how to take a bump on your very first day. It really depends on how your body's feeling, or, how well you take to the rolls, your athleticism, so on and so forth. We very much look at everybody as an individual basis and see what they're going to be comfortable with, or what we think, they're going to be capable of. So every school is always going to be different depending on, what type of activities you're going to do specifically. But something that I highly recommend, no matter what school you go to, is come motivated, come ready to work, show that you're a team player. The more that you can cheer on your teammates, the more that you can clap for everybody when it's not your turn, and also the more that you pay attention when it's not your turn, because I guarantee that that coach is probably going to say something and correct somebody else, and it might not be your turn yet. And then when you finally get in there, you obviously don't want to make the same mistake that somebody else did right before you. So showing that you were listening, showing that you're coachable, showing that you're going to take any type of criticism or remarks from the coaches and then apply it. All of those things is the absolute type of attitude that you need to have when you walk in these doors.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk about the fun part that a lot of people might not know about wrestling. Let's talk about the cardio. Let's talk about what kind of physical shape you need to be in.
So as far as the shape that you need to be in when you are getting ready for your first day of pro wrestling training, I highly, and Chris, I hope you get this, highly recommend that you drink a lot of water on your first day. The reason I say that is not because, when you come to House of Champions or when you come to wrestling schools in general, that it's our job or it's our fun part to put you through something and make you run the hardest that you've ever ran and so on. Of course, we're going to do some things that have physical activity, but it's not our job to just, drain you until you have nothing left in the tank. But depending on your activity level, depending on if you played sports, depending on how well you diet and you take care of yourself, so on and so forth, like everybody's physical cardio level is going to be different. And there's a golden rule that is said throughout the business, throughout every school, throughout the entire world, that there's no shape like in-ring shape. What that means is that if you are a long-distance runner, you could absolutely run 20 miles, 30 miles, and just keep the jogging distance throughout the entire time and never lose a breath, and that's what you're used to. You might be able to swim 50 laps into a pool. That has nothing to do with what we do here in professional wrestling. So this type of cardio is going to be a complete change. There's nothing that can really prepare you for it. There are some drills that may be able to help you get ready for that, but overall, it's going to be a big shock to you. It's going to be a big shock to your system. So don't worry too much about what your cardio level is like now, because it's our jobs as the coaches, it's our job at the school to make sure that your cardio level continues to get better throughout your training to make sure that you're ready for that first match.
Yeah, and I will say, being somebody that played sports my entire life, like Coach, I can vouch for what Coach said. There is nothing like wrestling shape, and there's nothing like just wrestling the movements in general, the rolls or the somersaults that you talked about, the dizziness that you experience, the up and down of the instability of the ring, just things that you don't really get used to and you can't really tell by just watching them on TV. So just be ready for, I guess, a new experience, I guess overall that you wouldn't expect just watching it on TV. It's very different. It's a lot harder than it looks. So just come ready to work. Most importantly, Coach, let's talk about hygiene. How should you take care of yourself before coming to your first training session?
This is another highly recommend that obviously you take a shower before you come to wrestling training.
And after.
Yeah. Super highly, even more recommended that you take a shower afterwards. But again, just as a precaution and just out of respect to everybody else, and again, just out of courtesy, I would highly recommend that you maybe bring some like spray deodorant or some cologne or perfume or just something, because, obviously put on some regular deodorant and then maybe put on some cologne or body spray or something of that sort. Also, this is a huge PSA. That doesn't mean swim in it, and that doesn't mean shower in it.
No Axe showers, guys.
No Axe showers. But what that means is obviously take a shower, put on some regular deodorant, and maybe do a spray real quick before you come into the building. And while you're training and working out, if you know that you're a pretty sweaty person, maybe reapply the deodorant, maybe give yourself a quick spray away from everybody else so that nobody breathes that in. Just again, so that when you get in there and you're still getting sweaty with everybody, it's not at least the worst experience of your life.
Yeah, think about the other people that are coming in contact with you guys.
I've literally been in the ring with someone before where I had to take Icy Hot or what's the other, like the Ben Gay rub, and I've put that in my nostrils to make sure, or the Vicks Vapor Rub.
Oh yeah.
I put Vicks Vapor Rub in my nose when I was wrestling somebody because they smelled that bad, and I had to get through it. So please don't do that, because I don't want to do that.
Don't be that guy.
No.
Or girl. Okay, awesome, Coach. Well, anything else that you can think of that maybe we didn't touch upon that you can expect for your first training?
No, I think we absolutely covered it. Again, just come hungry, come be a team player, come motivated, cheer everybody else on, be a good person, come hydrated, come with clean clothes, come with extra clean clothes, come with some elbow pads and knee pads, and again, just get ready to work. Get ready to show the coaches that, you're excited to be there, and, it's something that you want to get going, and show your teammates that you're ready to cheer them on as well, and it's going to create an awesome environment.
And make sure that your butt don't stink.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. We appreciate you guys. This has been another Podcast of Champions. We appreciate you guys. So until the next time, be great, be excellent, show love, go make a difference, go mad.
Yeah.